Welcome to the Spear Money channel, where we're sharing strategies and tips to help you sharpen your personal finances. Before we get started, please feel free and remember to drop a like and comment on this video. It goes a long way for the algorithm, and feel free to subscribe if you feel like this content is helpful, and that way you won't miss out on any Spear Money content. Today we're going to be talking about a simple money move that tons of people are missing out on. But it's a very simple way to kickstart your savings growth instead of just having your savings sit stagnant in your current account. Many people watching this might know or already guess that we're going to be discussing high yield savings accounts. You'll see this abbreviated as a HYSA. It's not necessarily a new product, but there's a lot of talk about these in the market right now. They've become popular as interest rates have risen over the past couple of years. The national average savings account is currently yielding a mere 0.46%, while most high yield savings accounts, at least the popular ones, are paying upwards of 4%, or nearly 10 times the national average. About a year ago, I went and found the rate that that I was personally earning at my local bank on my savings, and it was 0.8%. Now that's better than the national average, but again, I was missing out on a lot of yield compared to those high yield savings accounts that again are currently at 4% and above. The way I found it, and the way you can find it too, is going into your account profile, find your most recent monthly statement for your savings account, and it should list the rate that you're earning right there. And again, that should make the decision pretty easy when you see your current rate and compare that with rates of high yield savings accounts that are out in the market now. Although I was earning double the national average at the 0.8%, I also realized I was giving up a lot compared to what I would be earning with my money in a high yield savings account. So looking back over the past year, I earned about $1,000 extra than I would have had I left all my savings in the local bank that I was currently using at the time for savings. So again, $1,000 is not enough to retire on, but it's a nice chunk of change to add to that savings and help that compound more over time. I'm personally using Marcus, which is the banking arm of Goldman Sachs. This is an online-only bank, but that's fine for me. I've tested it. It really only takes about a day or two for those funds to be transferred back from Marcus to my local bank if and when I need to access that savings money. High yield savings accounts are FDIC insured, just like any other bank account. So that money is protected just like it is in the savings account that you have currently. At the time of this video, that high yield savings account that I have at Marcus is earning 4.5%. And they're currently running a promotion where you can earn 5.5% for a limited amount of time. So check the video description for the link to that account and get that 5.5% yield there. I was talking to a friend recently, and their bank was paying 2.5% for a high yield savings account, which obviously is better than average, right? That 0.46%, but it's still a long ways off from that 4% or more that a lot of the popular high yield savings accounts are earning. Her biggest holdup for not moving to a different account was, we all know it's a pain to switch banks, right? You have all the automatic payments, you have checks, you have all these different things. It can be a big pain, but nobody ever said that you have to move all your banking to a bank with a high yield savings account, right? I still use my local bank for checking, branch banking when needed, all the other things. The only thing I'm doing with Marcus is having that savings account. And again, I can move that money back when needed and have it back in my normal local savings account within a day or two without any inconvenience there. So moving banks, it can be daunting, but you can just do like I did and not move banks. Just move, your savings from your current bank to one of these other banks that's offering a high yield savings account. Now, in addition, I didn't even move all my savings. I still have some savings at my local bank that I can go into a branch, or I can go online and access same day. And then again, that larger amount I can go and access within 1 to 2 days. There's a lot of discussion about high yield savings accounts around on the internet. This is a Reddit post that I was reading This person is saying, or the title is, are they a good long-term investment option? So high yield savings account, people can think, oh, 4.5%, is that, an investment? Well, unless you're on the verge of retiring, you're going to be wanting to look at a higher return than 4.5% for investments, right? So ultimately, we're not, the goal of this isn't to try to consider this money to be invested that we have in a high yield savings account. Really, it's just kind of the benefit of having that 4.5% yield over, a small yield. But ultimately, we're not investing here, right? We're just making our savings work for us more so than they might be in a different account. This is a second question in the same post. It says, what incentive does someone have to even utilize a normal savings account? So why do people stay in those low rate savings accounts? Well, you can take the instance of myself over a year ago. At that 0.8% rate, you can take my friend who had the 2.5% and, was skeptical to be moving to a different bank. It can be daunting to move banks, and some people just don't get their calculators out or don't really see the benefit in switching banks or don't really feel like the hassle is worth it. But I can assure you that the hassle is worth it, because one, it's really not a hassle, and two, those rates that are being paid right now in high yield savings accounts are definitely worth it. The other thing to consider here too is with a high yield savings account, this rate is not guaranteed out into the future, right? This is the rate that you're receiving today based on market rates, but there's no guarantee that they'll stay this high forever, right? There's a good chance that they'll be, they're not going to be as low as they once were, but if you're looking to, say you're saving for a house and you think you're not going to need the money for 3 to 5 years, well, it might be a better option to go into certificates of deposits or CDs, something where you lock in that rate for a longer period of time. That's something we'll get into in a future video. But, ultimately this savings, the nice thing about the high yield savings account is that it's liquid, right? And I brought this up a few times that if I need this money, I can transfer it back, no penalties, nothing. That's my money. It's available to me, but so long as I don't need that savings, it's there and it's earning that high interest rate. One other interesting question that I saw, again, this is another Reddit post that says, I keep reading about high yield savings accounts. I don't think I fully understand why or how they make money just sitting there. Can someone explain the advantages to me in dumb people terms? Well, it's not dumb people terms, right? These are somewhat complex and can be a little tough to understand. Why would a bank be paying me this much money just to have my dollars sitting there in their accounts? Well, for years we had market rates of 0 or near 0%, right? But in the last couple of years, we've seen those rates go up significantly. So banks in those low interest rate environments from a couple of years ago, they were able to borrow a lot of money, and they would use that to give out mortgages and other types of loans, right? So they were able to get into really cheap borrowings. But now as interest rates have gone up, they've needed new sources of liquidity, again, to be able to have that money to give out mortgages, other types of loans. And so they need people's dollars in their bank in order to be able to make those loans and earn even higher interest rates. And so essentially that's their incentive for having you take your money and put it in their accounts, right? So you're getting the 4.5% or whatever the bank is offering, and then they're able to go out and use those dollars to loan and do their banking activities. So ultimately, that's why banks are paying that much, paying those rates, and ultimately a lot of the big banks do have high yield savings accounts. The Wells Fargos, the PNCs, those banks. But, a lot of the most popular ones that you'll see are online only banks, right? And so that's one more thing that's helping them to keep their overhead low, right? They don't have branches. They don't have the sheer volume of employees that some of these other more brick and mortar banks might have. So keeping that overhead low also helps them to be able to offer those competitive rates and drive people to pull in their dollars into their banks. Some of those concepts like interest rates, why they move, what happens. I mentioned CDs or certificates of deposits. We're going to be covering those in some future videos. But for now, that's all we have today. Thanks again for tuning in. Like the video, comment on the video if you haven't done so already. and check out the video's description for links to all the information we talked about today. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.